second long bell rings at the 8th minute. The question answer session will be held at the end of the session. And with this, I hope to have a very fruitful engagement. Now over to our chairman, Dr. Arvind.
Thank you, Mishra Saab. So good morning, everybody. Hope you have a nice morning. And thank you, Karamveer. Thank you, Devashish. Thank you, Mishra Saab. And thank you, Mekon, for inviting me to speak. Our career, that time the installed capacity was around maybe 15 to 18 million tons. Only the integrated steel plants were there and Tata Steel was there. And then, of course, then thereafter SR was in the pipeline. I'm talking about the primary steel. And some secondary steel like Mukund and Lloyd, they were also starting the career. But today from there and 1992 onwards, there was a surge, and today we are at 140, 150 million tons of installed capacity. The steel consumption at that point of was around 18 kgs. Today we are at 94, 95, slightly lesser than. But from here, there is going to be a big surge. Government of India has already committed that we will have 300 million by 2030. Even if we are not at 2030, maybe few years down the line, next 10 years are going to be very, very crucial, and we are going to see an investment of about 12 to 13 lakh crores of investment, which is going to be there in India itself, which is very, very big investment. And the steel consumption, which is close to 95 kgs today, is likely to reach to around 200 kgs per ton. So this is really a golden era, or I would say best time, those who have seen the steel industry. I remember, in earlier days, many times, my salaries got deferred. Sixth ko mili hai, 10th ko mili hai. We had no bills to pay for the electricity. But fortunately, now when we are at a golden era, and our forefathers and our seniors told us that when you are at the best time, you need to sow the seeds for the future. And I can tell you, we are at a cusp again. And while there is a good growth, you also know that steel comes, the darker side of steel is CO2, as Mr. Mishra said. Every ton of steel, we emit almost 2.54 or 2.6 also tons of CO2. India is really under the radar. We are the fourth largest or the third largest CO2 emitter. We are almost 3.2 billion tons of CO2, and steel industry contributes almost 12% of that. So on an average today, we are emitting about 280 to 300 million tons of CO2. But when we become 300 million ton, we would be somewhere around 800 million tons of CO2 will be emitted. And those who follow, I'm not going to bore you with that whole climate change and all, because you must have heard that a number of times. But it's a reality today. And you might have seen when we were kids, I know in Maharashtra and Mumbai, on 7 June, the rainfall would happen and rains would be over just slightly before Ganpati. We never used to have a waterproof pandal for Ganeshotsav. But today the situation is such that we need to have waterproof. And after Diwali also, till 2 days back, there were rains in Mumbai when I came. So this is all climate change. On an average, 200 days are there at this point of time. Today, in Paris, we committed for 1.5 degree increase in the temperature, but I am sure today we have surpassed that and we are slightly closer to less than 2 degrees. But still the time is not, we have to work on it. There are opportunity. I know energy transition is very, very difficult, especially steel industry. But still, there are other options. We have been exploring. There is 750 million tons of biomass available that can be converted. Green hydrogen at this point of time, it could be expensive, and then carbon sequestration, that's another option we have. While I am not saying that we 100% go away from the coal, but there are other options that also we should be exploring. And to discuss that in today's session, Mr. Mishra has already introduced. As you know, for decarbonization, we need three things. One is technology, one is policy, and one is finance. We have people from technology side and we have people from policy side also. Paramjit Singh ji will be speaking about the policy side, and he will also speak little bit about finance, which is about incentivizing steel industry, and I say carrot and stick works over here. So I wouldn't take much of a time, and let us see or let us hear from our esteemed speakers what they have to offer, especially on the technology side. We are very optimistic from SMS, Primetal, Centra has a very good digital platform, and of course the carbon capture and green steel taxonomy. NISST, they will be sharing about it. So with that, let me pause over here for the inaugural chairman's this thing, and let's hear from them. And in the end, again, I will be there for summarizing the session. Thank you.
Now I request Mr. Sanjeet Biswas to proceed with his presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss the most efficient technology in the dedusting system in the steel melting shop, that is called dry GCP. Let's say the current energy consumption of any plant is X. Now our target energy consumption is Y. How we can reduce this energy consumption? There are two ways. One is reduce the in-house demand. How we can do that? We can use variable frequency drive in the fan and the pumps. We can use advanced automation technology. We can use controller and condition, and also we can improve the process technology. Next, we can use the increase the in-house demand, increase the in-house production. That we will discuss in our next slide. How we can increase the in-house production that reduce the carbon footprint. For wet GCP, we lose lots of energy at fin-fan heat exchanger, but for dry GCP, we use the heat to generate the steam. That steam we use at the various area of the steel industry, like RH, steam purging. That will reduce the energy steam generation in the power plant, and that also reduces the uses of the fuel. And for wet GCP, a large amount of power is utilized in a sludge handling unit system. But for dry GCP, sludge handling unit is not required, so the power consumption is very less. The fuel gas which is generated from the converter has high calorific value. So that we will store in the gas holder, and we will reuse it as a fuel at the various area of the plant. That will minimize the uses of the fossil fuel like coal and hydrocarbon. Why we should go for dry GCP? Dedusting efficiency is very high, OPEX is low, and for dry GCP, sludge handling system is not required. This is the difference between wet GCP and dry GCP. Heat is recovered for as a steam for dry GCP. Stack emission is less for dry GCP. Dry GCP is the best available technology in the market right now. Energy consumption for dry GCP is also very low compared to wet GCP. No water treatment system is required for dry GCP, and maintenance is also very less for dry GCP. And in terms of reliability, dry GCP is far better than wet GCP. So this is the typical layout of dry GCP. The flue gas temperature at cooling stack is 1500 degrees Celsius, and the outlet temperature of the cooling stack is 800 degrees Celsius. The water which is injected into the cooling stack, that is low pressure circuit and the high pressure circuit. The steam is not generated from low pressure circuit. Steam which is generated from high pressure circuit is further stored in the steam accumulator to further use in the network. Next, the flue gas enter into the evaporation cooler. The flue gas temperature is 800 degrees Celsius and the outlet temperature is 200 degrees Celsius. The water inject into the evaporation cooler with steam. Why we utilize steam? Steam is atomize the water so that all the water is evaporated into the system. The bigger particle is separated at the bottom of the evaporation cooler, that is called coarse dust. To handle this coarse dust, we have a coarse dust conveyor and coarse dust silo. Next, the flue gas goes to the primary ESP. The primary ESP has 4 chambers, and each chamber has 99.9% efficiency. The dust which is separated at ESP is called fine dust. To handle this fine dust, we have a fine dust conveyor and fine dust silo. You see there are pressure relief device also installed in ESP that we will discuss in the next slide. Next, the gas come into the axial fan. What is the advantage of axial fan? When there is any pocket of CO and O2 mixture is created inside the dry ESP, there is a spark. So small explosion can happen inside the ESP. So that pressure will release from the pressure relief device of ESP, and some amount of pressure is further transferred to the axial fan. But the axial fan shape is 180 degrees, so it will transfer the energy further. So it will not damage the axial fan. So for this kind of system, axial fan is far better than radial fan. The axial fan speed control system is also better than radial fan, and for axial fan, no inlet device is also required. Next, the gas comes to the switchover station. There are 2 types of valve is installed. One is cup valve at flare stack side. This is a fail-safe open type valve, and another is gas holder side cup valve is a fail-safe closed type valve. When the CO percentages goes above 40%, then the gas holder side cup valve will open automatically and flare stack side cup valve will go down automatically. And when the CO percentage again go below the 40%, then the flare stack side cup valve will automatically open and gas holder side cup valve will automatically close. And the gas which is stored in the gas holder, that we will use further as a fuel in the various area of the network. So these are the reference of the dry GCP which is installed by Prime Metals. Prime Metals commissioned the first dry GCP in the year of 2024 at JVML Tornagalu SMS4, and the converter size is 350 ton. And next year at JSL we will commission the second dry GCP in India. So till now, Prime Metals is the leading technology provider company of dry GCP and has 40 years experience and has completed, commissioned 70 dry GCP across the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjit. Now I request Mr. Harsh Chaudhary to proceed with his presentation.
Can we have the slides up on the screen, please? Okay, while the slides are coming on, firstly, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Mekon, for organizing this wonderful event, which has brought us to Ranchi. I think in the morning, all of us were appreciating the nice weather and the open environment and the greenery around us. I think this is what sustainability is all about. It's all about coming back to our roots to embrace things like this. It's a pleasure to be here in Ranchi because this is a little bit of home for me because I grew up in Jamshedpur. So it's always nice to be back here. In the morning, I was just thinking that, you know, if you look at the people present in this group today and on the stage, I think about sustainability for about 40% of the entire steel industry in India is sitting in this room, right? It's a very powerful group that we have over here, and we must make sure that we actually walk away from here with even more inspiration to move forward. With that, I will start my presentation. So I'm here to talk about green steel. So a little bit about my company. I run a company called Centra World. We help, we are a mix of consultancy plus software, and we help steel companies decarbonize. That is the only thing that we do. Steel company and decarbonization. We are a team of about 40 people located in Bangalore, but we travel around India doing this. Bunch of different products that we have. They range, and they all are software products to start up with. You can install them. They connect with your SAP, Lighthouse, whatever data systems you may have. They can extract data from there, calculate your carbon footprint, different types of carbon footprint, all these certifications that you need to do, which is this new carbon credit trading scheme. And Paramjit ji will talk about the green steel taxonomy. That's something that we support with as well. We connect with third-party providers, your suppliers, so that we can get their carbon footprint. We help you simulate your net zero journeys. We've even started to help companies sell some of their green steel for a premium. So we're working in all of this area, but very dedicated to the space that we are in. We work with a lot of steel companies in India. Some of the names that you see over here, about 70, 75 of them that we already work with. We work with some companies in the Middle East as well, like Emirates Steel and Jindal's plants in Oman and the likes of it. Now, coming to talk about, I was called here to talk a little bit about CO2 compliances, and just steel industry is super important, represents a big part of our GDP and workforce, and also, we are going to grow in steel production. 70% of India's future steel production is yet to, of India's future infrastructure is yet to come up, and steel is going to be a big supporter of that. India's CO2 emissions in steel, everybody knows this, 2.5 tons of CO2 per ton of steel. Global average is 1.9. So what? Right? We all know, and we all know the reasons for it, but we all must look beyond this, and we have to think about decarbonization. India has solid net zero targets. It's set in 2070, probably the latest in the world, but we have our reasons for it. But I think India, I feel very proud that, when I go out of India and people ask me what is India doing on sustainability, I can very proudly say that the steel industry in India is actually doing probably the most that I have seen in any country. So this is a moment of pride for all of us, and we must continue this trajectory. Steel companies today are faced with many challenges on why they should decarbonize. There is pressure from customers. Customers want, for building products, they want to get green product certifications. Cars want to build lighter cars, greener cars. There are so many domestic regulations now. There's the carbon credit trading scheme, which was previously the Perform, Achieve, and Trade PAT scheme. CBAM, all of you have heard of CBAM. This is just the start. EU CBAM. There are 6 other CBAMs coming up in the next 2 to 3 years. Next year, CBAM taxes start. This is going to be big. And finally, capital markets. Now, any company, big or small, everybody is looking to go and do an IPO or grow publicly. If you're doing that, companies will invest into you. If you are more sustainable, you get access to cheaper capital, at least 0.1 to 0.5% reduction in your interest rate if you have a sustainability trajectory in front of you. So there are pressures, but I treat these pressures as opportunities. We look at decarbonization in 3 steps. First step is to measure, second step is to mitigate, and the third step is to monetize. My favorite out of them is the last one. I work mostly in the first part, but my favorite is the last one, which is on monetization. Because if we don't turn sustainability into a profit center, there is a risk that it will only remain a compliance topic. So we have to find ways in which we can avoid carbon tax, create a competitive advantage for your company, and finally, what we can also do is figure out green premiums. And if you're selling green steel, a premium is your right. Right? I say it very loudly to this group over here, because unless you ask for a premium, people are not going to value your green steel. So that's something that we have now started to try. Green steel, there's so many regulations, so many compliances around. So we thought, why don't we just put everything on one slide so that we can actually give the group over here a look, right? And if you can see, there are some 10, 12 compliances which are there. 5, 6 of them are mandatory, and other 4, 5 of them are voluntary. And here, I won't go through each one of them, but you might be familiar with these. But carbon credit trading scheme, CBAM, are all over there. The baseline survey that is being done by Ministry of Steel. We have the green steel taxonomy on the right, which is voluntary right now, but highly preferred to do. But I think the key message over here is not that there are so many. The key message here is you must decide what is important for you. There will be many people who come and tell you, okay, do this, do that, but ask one simple question. If it is mandatory, then you have to do it. If it is not mandatory, how will this help me? Is this going to help me grow my business or not? If it is not, put it under the rug, right? But this will give you a good overview of what is there. jumping a little bit into CCTS, right? So I'll go quickly through it because I think we're pressed for time also. The CCTS is open to, it's divided into the mandatory sectors and then the compliance sectors and then the voluntary sectors. On the compliance sectors, there is, steel is right up there. And there are 253 steel companies in India which have been identified to do this, 253 steel plants rather. There's a voluntary part also where you may be from any industry, but there are certain projects that you can take to generate carbon credits. And the way this works is that these industries on the left that you see, all these companies have been given a CO2 emissions target and intensity. If you meet the target, very good. If you do better than the target, you will get carbon credits which you can trade in the market. And finally, if you don't meet the target, you'll have to buy carbon credits from the market. The carbon credits are expected to be priced at somewhere between 800 to 1,000 rupees per ton of CO2. But then there's going to be a carbon exchange about it. It's a fairly detailed topic, so if you want to talk more, we can chat later. I'm here through the day. It's a fairly structured process. You need to calculate your emissions, get it verified, you will get carbon credits issued, and this is all managed by the Ministry of Power under the Bureau of Energy Efficiency. So various forces working on it. This is the first year that will be happening. 2 more minutes? Okay. We also, let me skip some of these things to actually get to some of the other parts. So these are all the 253 companies under CCTS. We looked at Jharkhand. There are 19 companies within Jharkhand which are part of CCTS. Many others, I think Odisha and Chhattisgarh are big hubs for the companies who are allocated here as well. Quick look, we plotted also for all the Jharkhand companies. We looked at what their CO2 intensities are. The blue are the blast furnace ones and the red ones are the sponge iron. So it varies a lot. I think some of them at the top are probably the ferroalloy companies, but it ranges somewhere in the range of 2 to 4 tons of CO2 per ton of steel. Each of them has a target of somewhere in the range of 3% to 7% for the first year, right? So these are some of the targets that you're seeing. So as you can see in the first year, it's about 2 to 3%, and then it increases a little bit after that. I'll skip some of this. I will just come to one important slide which I like to talk about, right? Sir, I'll just go over by maybe 30 seconds, sir. The green steel market, right? So I come from a management consulting background, so finance and business is very important for me at least. And this is what sir also talked about, Mr. Bodhankar, that the finance part is very important and the market is very important. So we looked at India's steel production. This data is from last year, 140 million tons, of which about 37% is going into private sector construction, another 28% is going into, or 39 million tons is going into public sector infrastructure. The first one is private, and then the second one is the public one, which is going to be unlocked by the green procurement policy. So this is the green procurement policy which has been discussed and hopefully be launched soon in FY 2028. By this, all the steel that the government buys, 39 million tons, out of that 26% will have to be bought as green steel. It can be 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. All of this is enabled by the green steel taxonomy or the green steel certification, which Paramjit ji will talk about briefly. But that is why that certification is important. And over here, we are looking at a market of 10 million tons. 10 million tons of green steel is what we feel is going to come from public sector procurement. Similarly, if I look at it and I look at the private sector. Private sector is interesting because, 40% of all greenhouse gas emissions today come because of buildings. 50% of that, so half of that 40% is from embodied emissions, which is, the steel and cement which is going into our buildings. And out of all of that, 30% is actually coming from steel. So it is important. And steel decarbonization, there is a clear path for it. What do real estate players gain from this? Number one, they avoid carbon tax. Second, you see you all heard of these GCCs, the Global Capability Centers, which are coming up in India. Google, Microsoft, everybody's doing it. And the moment they come is when you start exploring higher floor area ratio, higher rentals and all of that. And we did a quick calculation around it. This is another 8 to 10 million tons. And these are all estimates of 10 plus 10, 20 million tons, which will happen over the next 3 to 5 years. And this is just one, I like to put this up just as inspiration. This is a company, ARS Steel is a company that we work with, and we helped them secure a deal where they were able to sell their green steel. They sold it with a premium of about 5 to 7%. This was very important for me at least because it showed me that green has a certain value, green has a certain premium. So we expect in the short term about 5 to 10% price premium as something which can happen. For anything more related to sustainability, carbon emissions, how to monetize, how to measure, how to reduce, please come and talk to us. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Harsh. Now I request Shri Paramjit Singh to proceed with his presentation.
Yeah, my presentation is divided in this number of slides. I'll talk about the green steel taxonomy for India. And you know that the Ministry of Steel, Government of India has already taken significant steps towards the commitment to reduce the emissions in the iron and steel sector. And in September 2024, Ministry launched the comprehensive report on green steel for the sector, and a roadmap and action plan was mentioned in that. And report highlights the needs of developing taxonomy for the green steel, and based on that, Ministry of Steel notified the green steel taxonomy on 23rd December 2024. And in this taxonomy, you can say this is one of the significant steps, and worldwide, this is the first. India is the first country who has defined the green steel, and you can say developed the threshold. And this is going to, you can say, this is the motivation for the industry to reduce the emission and to contribute in the overall emissions of the country. And India contributes around 12% of the emissions in the green GHG. And green steel is a key solution for reducing the impact on the planet. And the taxonomy aims to promote sustainable steel production and create a market for the low carbon steel. And if you talk about the green steel basically the steel which is produced by the manufacturer, if they are meeting the CO2 emission less than 2.2 tons CO2 of per ton of the finished steel, that we will call the green steel. And there are, you can say, many pillars are there which can help you to reduce the emissions, like low-hanging fruits like energy efficiency, renewable energy, and if you go for the hydrogen use, that can help you to reduce the emissions in the to achieve the green steel. Then by using the hydrogen, I think we can reduce the emissions by 70%, and the ultimate aim is to minimize the footprint per ton of the finished steel, paving the way for the sustainable steel production. And this green steel has been labeled in the three categories. If the manufacturer is producing the steel within the range of 1.6 to 2.2, then it is called the 1.6 to 2 to 2.2. Then it is 3-star category. It falls under 3-star category. And if it is in the range of 1.6 to 2, then it falls under the 4-star categories. And if the manufacturer is producing the steel with the emission less than 1.6, it is falling under the 5-star category. And any manufacturer who is producing steel beyond 2.2, then it is not called as green steel. So, role of NIST in the green steel taxonomy, NIST has been notified as the nodal agency for issuing the green steel certificate, and the responsibilities of the NIST is like the MRV and the certification issuance, and maintain the registry of the green steel which is being issued to the manufacturer. And the process of certification is very simple. We have already developed the portal for the green steel certification. It is available on our website. This is greensteelcertification.in, and you can visit on the website, and you can register online. And if it is, because it has been launched few days back, if you find some difficulty, you can visit our website or directly approach to NIST to get registered. And the fee which is fixed for the one-time fee which is fixed for the registration is 10,000 plus GST. Whosoever is interested, they can register with us. And the certification fee which is fixed by the Ministry of Steel is, in the notification, is 2 rupees per ton of the finished steel. for which you are asking for the certification. And validity of the certificate which will be issued for the this green steel green steel is only for the financial year. So every year you have to apply and get it, you can say, audited, and you have to get the certificate. Guidelines we have already developed as notified in the green steel taxonomy. So we have to follow the CCTS guidelines. Based on that, we have developed the guidelines. After the registration of the, you can say, by the industry, industry has to inform us, the nodal officer from the plant, for the green steel certification. And once you register, then we will issue ACVA. We will allocate the ACVA for, you can say, audit for the green steel certification. And work order need to be issued by the unit to the agency. Within that agency which will be allocated to the unit, they have to submit the report within 20 days from the date of work order. And one major step which has been taken by the Ministry of Steel, they have fixed the audit fee for audit fee, which is 95,000 plus GST. So we have around 22 notified ACBS with us, and we are allocating to you. You have to pay 95,000 plus their to and fro charges, which is as per the actual. So no one can charge you the, you can say, any amount as it is being done in the CCTS. So just to fix the charges, ministry taken a very, you can say, significant step in that case. But in that case, you need to pay the 10% of the total intended green steel certification amount to the NIST as advance, and ACVs will collect the data from you, and they will submit the report to us. Based on the report, information will be given to the industry that what is their rating and how much greenness in their steel is there, and you have to pay the certification fee. After the payment of certificate, within 5 days, the certificate will be issued to you. I just want to inform to the audience present over here that as on date, we have received more than 80 applications from the industry, though most of them are from the secondary sector, who are definitely, you can say, using the scrap and renewable energy, and they are more eligible. And I hope that we will get the application from the integrated steel plants soon, because they are also in line. Some of them are using the, you can say, natural gas to produce the DRI, and they may also be eligible for this. And the scope, which is basically covered under this green steel certificate, the scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. Scope 1, scope 2, I think I need not to mention about it. Everybody knows about it. And in scope 3, basically, the activities which is covered, that embedded carbon present in the input material like sinter, if you're importing the sinter, pellet, or coke, or any other material, DRI, like, and other ferroalloys, what you're using in the steel making, or which is used in the production of the steel, that is more important than industry need to focus more on the material which is being purchased that should have a low embedded carbon to get the certification, or to you can say eligible for the green steel certification. And yes, I have already explained that, and why green steel matters. Main objective is to reduce the emission and to meet the objective of the country that is committed by our Honorable Prime Minister in COP 2026. We have to reduce the emissions by 45%. So we, by adopting this green steel taxonomy, we can, you can say, contribute in this. And economics opportunity has been already explained by Harsh. Then compliance with the regulations, that has also been explained by in the CBAM and all these things. Just last. Then future-ready infrastructure. I just want to say, green steel taxonomy certification not only provide a framework for evaluation and categorizing steel products based on their environment impact, but also serve multiple significant purposes that benefit manufacturers, consumers, as well as the environment alike. This is the worksheet what we have developed. This is the flow of the worksheet, general information, instructions, plant details, capacities, and electricity. And we have developed the 54 sheets under one worksheet, which is applicable for the integrated steel plant as well as the secondary steel plant. So anybody can, whosoever will register, we share the sheet with them. They can, but by filling the data, they can come to know where they lie, and they can apply accordingly. With this, thank you very much for patiently. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Paramjit Singh. Now I will request Dr. Nivedita Panda to proceed with her presentation, please.
Very good morning to all of you on the dais and off the dais. Since yesterday, we are hearing a lot of very good papers on sustainability and decarbonization. Born and brought up in the steel city of Rourkela, we have been seeing the fumes coming out of the plant, various colors. That time we were not able to understand what it is. Some fumes coming out. It's a curiosity to see. And then finally, after completing the education and coming out of the city and moving to other cities, and finally now in Delhi and Gurgaon, so everybody can understand the pollution level we are facing every day. So it is kind of a mouse trap. We are trapped in the pollution. So it's a high time for us to really address the decarbonization issues. So coming to my slides, I'm from the SMS. I think most of the people know about SMS. Can we start the presentation, please? No. This is, I think, third or fourth slide. Sorry? Can you go back to the slides, please? The starting. It cannot come blank. Can I put my laptop in that, please? Okay, thank you. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry. So this will work? This will work?